GTA 5 has hundreds of roads and drivable paths, and over the last few weeks, I've set out to rank every single one. But what even counts as a road? Technically, it's a wide way made for vehicles. I started with the in-game map and added any dirt roads or alleyways that seemed drivable, and got input from the community Discord to finalize what made the cut. Each road was ranked based on its length, busyness, usefulness, condition, name, markings, signage, views, and overall enjoyability to drive. So without any further ado,
what is that thing on your face?
The worst road in San Andreas, placing 422nd place, is the tiny road in Harmony. Being only 0.3 miles long, it's not only the worst road in the game, it's the shortest too. And even though size isn't everything, this road doesn't even have a name or anything else to show for. The next road is what I'm calling Barnway Access, which is not an official name. This is also a road that almost wasn't even included, though did manage to slip through the cracks onto the official ranking. The Raton Canyon cul-de-sac is only well known for that one random event that takes place here in story mode. Aside from that, I don't think I've ever seen anyone driving down this 0.4 mile long turnaround point. Just east of Sandy Shores is the small access road that goes underneath the train tracks, which I never included in my tunnel or bridge ranking videos previously. And today, it was really only included because I felt bad it had never been included before. Located just off the Senora Freeway is this small driveway access road, again teetering the line between even being considered for the video, as it was decided that driveways are not largely considered individual roads. Heading back up near Grapeseed, we have this very small farming road wedged between the freeway and Union Road. Again, there's not much to say here, and I don't know why I'm wasting so much time talking about these shitty roads. On 2nd Street in Grapeseed, this access road borders on being privatized and excluded, although its compacted dirt and occasional necessity is what allowed it to be placed in 416th place. Finally, breaking into roads that are over 1/10 of a kilometer long is another farm road near Grapeseed, which is basically what all the roads in this town are. Plus, how well can you really score as a road when no one drives on you and you're made of loose dirt and you don't have a name? Another access road located south of Harmony and west of the prison is Bay Tree Canyon Approach, which can be very useful, though many people will just drive over the hills and avoid this dirt approach regardless. Heading back to Grapeseed, again, we have yet another dead-end dirt farm road. And you know what, I'm getting tired of describing and providing reasoning for all these dog shit roads. So let's speed it up a little bit like we normally do in the early parts of these ranking videos. One more dirt road up Grapeseed, another one, farm truck speed. South of Harmony, got a great track, then a trailer with a cul-de-sac. Back to Grapeseed, O'Neill's Spot, one more north, yeah, it's a lot. Homeless Camp, way off the map, Yellow Jack with a gravel wrap. Railroad Side with rusty beams, Construction Road with broken dreams. Two more farms across the way, Alien Camp, okay. Back to Grapeseed, farm again, another one, that makes like 10. Near Harmony, two dirts make a pair, back to Grapeseed, still not rare. Senora Site with big machines, 2U2 roads behind the scenes. South of Harmony's got a track, Route 68, and then swing back. We make good time, so let's keep our pace, it's that Pier Road from the final chase. Back to Grapeseed, yes again, cut through desert, dust and wane. North of Harmon's LSC, Satellite Dish Road to watch TV. Airport Lane near Farmland Brown, another dirt path further down. Near 68, more dust and heat, backside Grapeseed, muddy feet. Slab City Trail, bikes all around, shortcut creeps near Vinewood Ground. Grapeseed Farms, Can't Escape, Cow Pasture Road and Farmland Shape. Churchill Trail with Holy Flare near Culty Grounds, if you dare. Border Freeway, Gravel Grind, north of Docks where cranes unwind. Harmony South has Dusty Bends, construction site that never ends. Sand dunes cut like wavy shields, and one more trail near oil fields. Farmhouse Bunker, Hilltop Climb, Adrazo's Loop still feels like crime. Trailer Park by Turbines Churn, boat launch high where no boats turn. Ultra's Path runs somewhere near, Zancudo's Fence is posted clear. Sawmill Grind in Paleto Bay, Sailboat Wreck and Desert Clay. Dried Out Prisons, Cracked Old Span, Lighthouse Road near Mount Gordo Land. Pullout Lane by the Northern Track, Mountainhound's Twists will break your back. Sandy Shores, South Airfield Sweep, Catclaw's Loop runs desert deep. Right along the airstrip's line, short dirt cross where trains combine. Mackenzie's Rear with Cactus Crawl, one more road near Senora Sprawl. Past the cow farm, Barns and Bales, Scrapyard Route with rusted rails. Forest Trail through Paleto Trees, one near Church with Desert Breeze. Harmony's Main is dusty and flat, back to Grapeseed, yep, more of that. Rebel Radio, Back Road Beat, just off 68, that's not concrete. Long Farm Trail, Grapeseed again, Ratton Lookout near the Canyon Bend. Zancudo River's Winding Path, Braddock's Farm sits near the pass. Altruist Camp Road climbs with grace, Tatvium's East Side Canyon face. Desert Trail hugs the track, then West Side Tatvium, no turning back. South of Paleto, Beachside Slide, Hillside Homes where pavements die. Big Dam Climb in the Northeast Hills, Mineshaft Road with eerie thrills. Lower slope trail off that mine, Chaparral Twist, no warning sign. Main paved road to Mackenzie's Gate, forest path through Ratton's northern state. Galileo's back with mountain bends, North Ratton's climb near deadly ends. Epsilon Drive through cultish gates, Mirror Park alleys, familiar states. South Alamo's short dirt bite, Madrazo's climb, clean paved delight. Vinewood's dead end zone of drills, Mirror Park alley sneaks through still. Palmer Powers fenced in lot, yield to a loop with parking spots. News HQ secured and bland, casino track with dirt and sand. Government site with looping turns, like Vinewood's edge where rubber burns. Palmer Power, yes again, and last but not least, the prison pen. Wow, that was exhausting. And believe it or not, we've only made it through a quarter of the road so far. But here's the worst part. These next 76 roads, they're all basically tied. They're short, boring alleyways that blend together like copy-pasted background noise. So while they flash on screen, let's talk about a few areas you've probably noticed that I haven't mentioned at all. Take the quarry or the wind farm, for example. Lots of utility paths and work roads, sure, but most of them twist, overlap, and blend together so randomly that it's impossible to tell where one road starts and another one ends. Same deal with places like Murrieta oil fields. Technically, I could have counted every single little segment as its own road, or just counted it all as one massive conglomerate road. Either way, it would have totally skewed the rankings. Another place I've skipped is the ports of Los Santos, places like Terminal or the loading docks on Elysian Island. These are less like roads and more like massive container parking lots. As if it was empty, it would just be a large concrete pad. Now, if you're still curious about how I made these calls or just want a deeper look into the chaos behind a ranking video like this, consider becoming a member. I'll be posting a behind the scenes breakdown soon, including how I define what is and isn't a road. It'll also reveal how I approach massive projects like this and how the hardest part of most of my videos is semantics. All that and more for half the price of your morning coffee. Continuing on with 233rd place is another unnamed road that runs past the farmhouse bunker and is much more useful than roads previously mentioned. The lower road along the southern bank of Ratton River is one of the most used roads through the pass, and also passes by a bunker. The road that circles Fort Zancudo is our longest one yet at over 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles. Hillcrest Access Road is our first officially named road, and is where Michael and Franklin tear down Madrazo's house by accident. Well, on purpose. Up in Sandy Shores, we have a very short delivery road at the back of the hospital. Then another short road that connects Mariana Drive to Joshua Road up near the lockup. Next, we have another alleyway near Davis, which is slightly longer than average to other alleyways. The cul-de-sac just above Lake Vinewood is rarely driven by players unless you're delivering a vehicle export or some other mission. Heading down to the airport, we have the access road that travels behind LSC to the northern end of the airport. In 224th place, we have the paved road heading towards the prison entrance, which is commonly used as a shortcut from the freeway to Sandy Shores. Another road that's rarely used by players, with the exception of missions, is the industrial road just north of the terminal that curves down to the waterfront. The only officially named road in Ratton Canyon is Ratton Pass, the upper road on the southern edge of the canyon. We then see another commonly used approach road south of Harmony, followed by another approach road near the Maze Bank Arena. Surrounding the exterior of the prison is the Prison Ring Road, which is most well known for its appearance in the Criminal Records land race. Heading to Vespucci Beach, we have Rub Street, which is an interesting choice for a name. Just across the marina is Tackle Street, which leads to the parking lot for the boat launch. The roads heading up to the observatory are named in a very unique manner, as it consists of 3 roads, the worst being Galileo Way. Heading back down to the marina, we have Tug Street, just north of Rub Street, and although it's not much better, it did score better on the naming front. Believe it or not, this road doesn't have an official name, and is the highest scored non-named road. For simplicity, I've been calling it the Chiliad Pass, and this is one of the greatest roads between the Alamo Sea and Paleto Bay, which means that every road past this point has an official name within the game or on the map. Luckily, it also means we can pick up the pace again. In 213th place, we have Alty Street, followed closely by Loyola Street. Then comes Perth Street, just ahead of Chola Road. Then we go back down to the marina with Shank Street. Then you can take Vita Street to the beach, though you could also take Cortez Street, which is what I'd recommend more. Calafia Road is much more used, but still not that busy. Bridge Street has a very fitting name, having 2 bridges and only 3/4 of a mile. Liberty Street has a great name, but it's too short and nobody really knows where it is. Richmond Street, however, is a bit more well known, but still fairly unused. We'll head back to Grapeseed for Grapeseed Avenue, which is one of the few paved roads in town. Union Road falls in the same category, but is the longest singular road in Grapeseed. Aguja Street is also interesting to pronounce, but it's also fairly unused for where it's located. Dry Dock Street is also fairly unused unless you have a business in that area. North Calafia Way is a continuation on Calafia Road, but spans the entire northern loop of the Alamo Sea. Tangerine Street has a good ring to it, but aside from the downtown cab company, there's no reason to be here. Goma Street is what Aguja Street wishes it could be, with a better flow and direct access to the beach. York Street is parallel to Tangerine Street, but provides easier access to the casino, making it a bit more usable. Brugge Avenue cuts right through Davis, but is probably the least used road in the area. Jode Lane is that one paved road that cuts right through the middle of Grapeseed farmland. And then we have Covenant Avenue in Davis, then Melanoma Street, followed by Dunstable Drive, Niland Avenue, Zancudo Road, Chum Street, and Center Road up in Chumash, then finally Grapeseed Main Street, which is the third best road in Grapeseed. Then there's Edward Bay in 184th, Dulos in 183rd, Macaula Avenue in 182nd. And then one of my favorite names for a road, Center Street. But this is still taking way too long. So let's try something else. And now, the roads of Los Santos, brought to you by Buckacherz. San Monster and North Archer, Swiss Street and Crusade, and Jamestown is down in the sticks, Mariana and Greenwich, and Decker and Arsenal, but only the half in the south, Occupation and Eastmere, Zancudo, then Westmere, Algonquin is where Trevor lives, Hardy Way, Hangman, Armadillo, and Steel to Signal, then down the long Dunstable Lane, there's Coxway and Clawmarks and Mountain View Drive to Forum Supplies in the Clints, Amarillo and Caesars and Ginger and Catfish and Labor down to Casabel. Hangarway, South Shambles, Viper's Worst Nightmare, and Hillcrest and way up Mount Hahn, Chola, Springs, Tower, and Fudge, North Conquer, then Rockford away, Arbiter, Heritage, Barbino, Red Desert, Chupacabra, Peaceful Street, Greenwich Place, Mutiny Road, Amarillo returns once again, Alhambra, and Kimball, then Orchardville, West West Way, right on the Moment Drive, Normandy, Dorset, and Magellan, O'Neill, then Galileo, both Western and East. Meringa, Nicola, Alta, and Joshua, Albiros Boulevard, Carson, Knot City, Portola with Townies, Diddy and Laguna 2, Cockington's Drive, and Grove Street to Spanish, and Chainsky Passage as well. Hallwick and Genty Lane bring us to nowhere. Rich closes us off. We're done. That's it. Stop the music! As we move into the top 100 roads in the entire game, I want to take a moment to remind everyone why I'm making this video in the first place, as well as to simply thank you for 50,000 subscribers. As we start on to our next milestones of 75,000 and 100,000, which is crazy, I want to ask you what you'd like to see at those milestones. So let me know in the comments below. In 100th place, we have Dorset Drive, which takes you along the golf course down to Rockford Hills Plaza. This road is essential for maneuvering the city. Then we have Place, which is a confusing place on Elysian Island where the road just kind of goes where it wants to, but it's completely labeled on the map, so... Ace Jones Drive is most well known for being where we spawn following the Cayo Perico heist, and therefore holds a special place in many players' hearts. Fantastic Place has one of the most misleading names, as this road is very short and fairly uneventful, likely only being a one-way. Utopia Gardens gives Fantastic Place a run for its money though, as this utopia has been under construction for over a decade. Morningwood Boulevard is located just north of Backlot City, and although it isn't the most used road, it is nice to drive down. Voodoo Place has another great name and less confusing than the other roads on Elysian Island. Conquistador Street is just a lot of fun to say. But Sandcastle Way has the most fitting name for a Vespucci Beach road. East Joshua Road might not be the prettiest, but it's definitely a necessity for Sandy Shores residents. Lindsay Circus has another fun name, but again is fairly uneventful as a route. In 89th place, don't be fooled because New Empire Way has been in the game for as long as any other road. Now, Courts Drive might just be a dead-end road to some, but the views from the Court Center are definitely worth it. Now, many players don't really know the name of this road, but Caelius Avenue is a road we drive more frequently than not. Palomino Avenue, however, is very confusing as its name, Palomino, is located on the opposite side of the city from Palomino's Highlands. Strangeways Drives is very strange, but also very steep, which makes it fun to launch off of. Americano Way, despite its name, doesn't have a single coffee shop. And Meteor Street has the same problem, not having any meteors. Or coffee. Returning as one of my favorite names, but with a small twist, Sinner's Passage is hands down better than Sinner's Street, though it's a lot shorter. Lake Vinewood Drive has some of the best views from Vinewood Hills and a wonderful name to boot. Playa Vista is definitely a secondary road, and though it does benefit from its use of Vista rather than street, it's just not very popular. Now, North Sheldon Avenue isn't the main road through Vinewood Hills, but could definitely be considered as a second or third main option. Heading back up to Grapeseed for the last time, we'll be taking a look at Seaview Road, which is the most used road in this area aside from the freeway. Paleto Boulevard is definitely not something you'd expect to make it into the top 100, though it is a necessity for Paleto Bay and has a decent length to it. Baytree Canyon Road is one of the longest roads we've seen thus far, at nearly 3 kilometers long, while Sustancia Road is less used, though very well maintained given its lack of popularity. Dutch London Street allows easy access between Little Seoul and Davis, with additional access to the Mazebank Arena and close access to the airport. Mirror Place might not seem like it's worthy of 73rd place, though, bear with me, it does have a fitting name and some pretty decent views for a suburb. Smoke Tree Road is fairly unknown by the majority of the player base, unless you happen to own the bunker in this area, which has the same name. Fenwell Place simply has less use than its neighbors, while Carson Avenue just isn't very pretty compared to its neighbors. Procopio Promenade has a great length, but it isn't completed because the bridge is out. But its name gave it bonus points. Little Bighorn Avenue is longer than expected, but features too many interruptions with lights and traffic problems. Route 68 Approach is useful and well maintained, but lacks length. Eastbourne Way is too unknown to really qualify for the top places of this list, while Wild Oats Drive is well known, but lacks traffic and necessity unless you own a property on the road. The Fort Zancudo Approach Road is well taken care of, but comes with its own risks of trespassing and getting blown up by a fucking tank. Procopio Drive stands out in Paleto. Mount Hahn Road is an absolute blast to drive, but isn't really used much based on its location. Wispy Mountain Drive is only known because of Franklin's house, and aside from that, you wouldn't even know where it is. San Vitas Boulevard has a forgettable name, but an ideal location. Davis Avenue is necessary for airport traffic, heading straight there. And then we have Capitol Boulevard, South Boulevard Del Perro, South Rockford Drive, Bay City Avenue, El Rancho Boulevard, Elgin Avenue, Greenwich Parkway near the airport, Glory Way, and Equality Way to start off our top 50. Senora Way is dusty but very useful, while West Eclipse Boulevard is longer than Eclipse Boulevard, which I thought was interesting. Why wouldn't we just call the entire road Eclipse Boulevard? Integrity Way is short, but very unique with its beautiful tunnel system. Buccaneer Way is the only road that we'll be mentioning in Terminal, as it's the access road for that large parking lot I talked about. As we move into 45th place with Innocence Boulevard, you'll start to notice that lots of these roads are a lot longer than you'd expect, cutting all the way across the city. Autopia Parkway circles down the Mazebank Arena all the way to the airport, and is pretty fun to drive as well. Power Street manages to run from Vinewood Hills all the way down to the north end of Davis, so it covers a lot of ground. Industry Passage is tight, but has lots of sights to see as well. Movie Star Way is likely one of the least used roads to cross the Del Perro Freeway, but its location is ideal. Exceptionless Way is one of the only 2 roads to leave the airport, and after ranking this many roads, I'm getting tired of the simple street, road, drive, and boulevards, which is where Zancudo Barranca comes in as a great palate cleanser. Barranca. I don't even know what that means. Abe Milton Parkway almost feels like 2 separate roads, but they're both named as one, so I counted them as one. Eclipse Boulevard might not be as long as its western counterpart, but covers some very iconic ground. Panorama Drive is the main road used to get to Sandy Shores, while both Imagination Court and Invention Court might not be very long or traversable, but these little bridges are so much fun to jump over. Vinewood Boulevard continues where Eclipse Boulevard left off and covers even more iconic grounds with the Vinewood Stars. Now you might not believe me, but you drive down Mirror Park Boulevard a lot more than you'd like to admit, hence why it scored so high. Buenvino Road might not be well known by name, but it is fun to drive, and it's very well known for that one corner where NPCs forget how to drive. Vinewood Park Drive heads from the theater all the way past the casino, which sees a lot more traffic after the casino DLC. Picture Perfect Drive has a picture perfect name, but very few picture perfect views. Popular Street might be my favorite road in the entire game, but that's likely due to the fact that almost every business I own is along this road. Milton Road is the main road through the center of Vinewood Hills, and although many of the corners are blind corners, it's still fun to drift down occasionally. Los Laguna Boulevard cuts all the way through Vinewood to the city center, while the Roy Lowenstein Boulevard is less iconic for its vehicle traffic and more well known for the fact that the train travels straight down the center. Boulevard Del Perro starts north of the pier and passes the golf course, making it very useful to get from east to west, while Alta Street is one of the longest roads within the city, spanning 2.4 kilometers from Vinewood Hills all the way down to Mazebank Arena. Banham Canyon Drive is another fun mountain road to drive in the game, while Senora Road is also known as Sports Car Road to the racing community, as many good vehicles spawn here, and it's the start to the fastest way from the city to the center of the map and beyond. In 20th place, we have Adams Apple Boulevard along the south of the city center. In 19th, we have Route 68, which is both iconic and the longest road excluding freeways in the entire game, spanning 5.5 kilometers or 3.4 miles from start to finish. Prosperity Street covers a lot of unique area, including the Prosperity Street Promenade, which is a pain to drive through, though the large bumps in Vespucci make it all worthwhile. Bay City Incline is iconic both in-game and in real life, and it's definitely a must-visit when you're looking at GTA 5 locations in Los Angeles. And then we get to our first freeway. And yes, there's actually 8 freeways in the game. The shortest and worst one being Olympic Freeway, which cuts east to west just south of the city. Elysian Fields Freeway covers the southeast quadrant of the city ring road, including that orange bridge. While Strawberry Avenue is realistically just an extension of a freeway that comes into the city and heads towards the airport. La Puerta Freeway takes 13th place and features one of the most iconic bridges in the game near the airport, and travels all the way up to just west of the city center. Palomino Freeway, however, is the highway that travels from the east side of the city up to the wind farm and covers 4.6 kilometers. North Rockford Drive is another one of those roads that's a lot longer than you think it is, traveling all the way from Marlowe Drive down to San Andreas Avenue in the city, which covers a large distance and is one of the main roads to get from the city to the northern parts of the map. Having the best name in the entire game is Mad Wayne Thunder Drive, which doesn't cover any major distances, but it's just super fun to say. Mad Wayne Thunder Drive. Senora Freeway picks up where the Palomino Freeway left off and travels up to Grapeseed, where it merges with another freeway and gets a new name. Marlowe Drive is one of those roads that's a lot longer than you think. It's that long road just above Vinewood Hills that winds and spans the entire width of the map, all as one road, and it's super fun to drive. Vespucci Boulevard covers a staggering distance from the beach all the way to Mirror Park, while Tongva Drive is one of the most utilized roads between city and countryside. In 5th place, we have Mount Vinewood Drive, which just beat out Tongva Drive due to its more central location and ease of travel from north to south and vice versa. In 4th place, we have San Andreas Avenue, which is one of the highest scoring roads aside from the freeways, covering 2.5 kilometers from Mirror Park to the beach and being more utilized than Vespucci Boulevard. Now our top 3 spots are all freeways, starting off with Los Santos Freeway in 3rd, which picks up where Strawberry Avenue left us and heads north where it merges with Palomino Freeway past the casino. As for the Del Perro Freeway, which is slightly longer, it manages to place 2nd due to its improved views through the city and iconic tunnel system. Which means that the number 1 road, spanning a distance of 12.8 kilometers, is the Great Ocean Highway, which starts off in the Pacific Bluffs and goes all the way through Chumash, Fort Zancudo, Paleto Bay, and ends in Grapeseed, alongside all of those shitty dirt roads that we covered roughly, 20, 30 minutes ago, 2 hours, 7 hours? I don't know, how long is this video, Kyle? Now, if you enjoyed this ranking video, consider checking out this playlist where I rank every pool, billboard, apartment, bridge, tunnel, island, gas station, stunt jump, and much more. These ranking videos take a lot of work, so I appreciate you watching to the end.